What's going on? In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the best photo and video settings for the Kodak PixPro FZ45. So basically, I'm going to jump into the menu, go through all the different photo and video settings, and explain what everything does specifically and what I'd recommend setting it at. And like always, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to jump right into this video. So if it does help you out, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. Now let's check it out. Okay, let's jump right into it. So we're going to hit this button right here next to the mode button, and it'll open up this little menu right here. So if we start at the top, the first thing is exposure metering. And there's three different options you can choose from. So there's AI auto exposure, spot exposure, and then center exposure. So with center, it's going to look right at the center of your image to dictate the exposure. So typically this is on an auto exposure mode, where if you point it at something really bright, it'll darken the image to make it look normal. And of course, if you point at something really dark, it'll brighten the image up to make that look kind of normal. And so that's essentially what exposure metering does, is it allows you to choose the point on the screen here on your image where it's going to find the exposure. And so spot essentially has a spot that you can move around the screen to wherever you want. So if you want to expose, for whatever's right over here, or maybe up here in this spot, it'll essentially just choose that one spot to find your exposure. And then of course, there's AI auto exposure, which basically looks over the entire image to find a pretty decent average exposure so that nothing is super bright and nothing is super dark. And this is the one that I would recommend pretty much everybody choose. And this is the one that I use 100% of the time. So yeah, I would recommend selecting AI AE for that. And then next up is resolution. So you can see you can choose anything from 16 all the way down to VGA resolution here. This I would recommend just going right up to 16 megapixels and just leaving it right there. That's going to be the sharpest, highest quality photos out of this camera. And you can see this is also the full resolution right here. So it's going to be 4,608 pixels wide by 3,456 pixels tall. Okay, and then if we go on here, this is going to be selecting continuous versus single autofocus. And so basically, single autofocus is only going to try to focus the camera when you half press the shutter button to take a photo. When you're not specifically trying to take a photo or half press the shutter, it's not going to find focus. It's just going to be waiting for you to try to take a photo. And then continuous autofocus will basically always be trying to find focus, so it's always ready to go and ready to take a photo. This will of course use a little bit more battery and a little bit more camera power because it's always going to be trying to find focus. But again, it's kind of always going to be ready to go. It'll always be trying to find focus and be ready for you. Personally, I find single autofocus works pretty well for me, and I pretty much just stick it on that for the most part though. So I can just have the camera on my side. Whenever I'm ready, I can pull it up, get focus and take a photo. And then I won't just kind of always hear that autofocus motor running and trying to find focus, even when I'm not even trying to take a photo with it. All right, next up down here, this is going to be your burst speed. So single right here means single shooting. So if you hold the shutter button down and press it, it'll take one photo and that's it. What these are going to do is if you press and hold the shutter button down, continuous will just continue shooting until you let go of it. So you can pretty much just keep holding it down. It'll just keep taking pictures over and over again. 3 shots, basically every time you press it, it'll snap 3 shots right in a row and then stop. And of course we have time lapse. So this basically means 30 seconds, every 30 seconds is going to take a photo continuously until you stop it manually. Or you can do every minute, 5 minutes, or all these different intervals. So these are basically just based on preference or whatever you're trying to capture in the moment. Okay, next up is going to be the autofocus mode. So there's 3 different modes: single autofocus point, multi-autofocus point, and then object tracking. So single point basically has this one point right here that anything inside that box is going to automatically focus on, but then anything outside of it won't even really try to focus on at all. And then we have multi-autofocus. That'll basically look over the entire screen, and basically whatever's closest to it or whatever it thinks it should focus on, it's just going to go ahead and focus on that. And it works pretty well. Like I said, basically whatever the main subject is or whatever's closest to the camera, it'll focus on no matter where on the screen it is here. And then object tracking, this is essentially going to find focus on whatever you have in this box here. And then once it gets focused, it's going to try to follow along with it and track it. I find tracking with this camera really doesn't work that well, and I typically just use the multi-autofocus here. So it'll basically select whatever it thinks is best to focus on in the image here. All right, next up down to this other page, we have HDR. So if you enable HDR, it's essentially going to lower the highlights a little bit and raise the shadows and make the image look a little bit more flat and kind of more like an iPhone photo where there's not anything super bright, there's not anything super dark. Everything's like perfectly exposed, but sometimes it looks a little unnatural. And especially on this camera, I usually just turn HDR off. And if I want to do any editing, I can just take the photo on my phone or computer and do some editing from there. Next up, white balance. If you want to mess around with your white balance, which is basically the warmth or coolness of your photos, which you can see it changing all around right here. You can definitely do that, but I typically just set this on auto white balance. It'll adjust to whatever it thinks is best. And then if I want to make any adjustments again, I can do that in my editing software and warm up or cool down the photo. But I find auto white balance usually does a pretty great job. All right, next up, these are filters. So these are kind of going to adjust your image in other ways. So it changes the color, like obviously black and white here. There's sepia tone, dreamy, which is kind of softer and more blurry. This has a vignette. So these are all just kind of different looks you can get in your images that are going to be baked into your photo. So as soon as you take a photo with one of these, you won't be able to change that. And so again, I kind of find shooting in normal works best for me. And then I can take my photo into my editing software. I can turn it into a black and white photo or add vignetting or softness or sharpness or, anything that I need to from there. All right, next up, we're going to go actually a little bit deeper into the menu, which is this right here. And there's a couple settings I want to change in here. So first up, quality, we're obviously going to set this at best. This is going to be the best, sharpest quality photos. Autofocus assist beam. This is basically this bright light that shoots out of the front of the camera when you're autofocusing. I personally find it really annoying, and it doesn't help that much unless it's super, super dark out. And so I always just keep this off so there's not a really annoying light on the front of the camera. Digital zoom, I turn this off because essentially digitally zooming into your photos, if you just zoom in farther than it can go with the optical zoom, it's going to lower your sharpness and quality quite a bit, and I'd rather just have it off. And if I need to crop in, I can just do that on my phone afterwards or like in my editing software. Date imprint, so this is essentially going to put the date at the bottom corner of your photos. I typically keep this off, but I know a lot of people do like having the date on their photos. Quick review essentially is how long it'll show the photo you just took after you take it before it goes back to the regular shooting screen. So you can do 1, 2, 3 seconds, or you can just turn it off. I just have it at 1 second. All right, next up, face detection. I turn this on so that if there is a face in the image or you're trying to take a picture of a person, it's going to prioritize focusing on their face, which usually is most important. And then everything else in here is pretty much just personal preference, like setup options for the date, for your brightness, for hooking up to a computer and things like that. All right, that's it for all the photo settings. Now let's go ahead and jump into the video settings real quick. So we're going to hit this mode button right here and then go right over to movie mode. And then there's a few more settings we're going to change. So first up, let's hit this button right here. Exposure metering is going to be the same as the photo mode, as well as a lot of these other settings that we changed. So basically, if you change them in the photo mode, they'll be the same here. So we'll keep this at AIAE, and then down here is your resolution. So there's a bunch of different resolutions you can choose from in different frame rates. I would recommend most of the time sticking with full HD 30 frames per second, which is this right here. Otherwise, if you want some slow motion, you could do 720p at 60 frames per second for a little bit of slow motion when you slow it down in your editing software. But the thing is, 720p video is going to be quite a bit less sharp than full HD will be. But also, if you want to get even more slow motion video, you can do 640 by 480 at 120 frames per second. But again, it's going to be really low resolution at that point and probably not realistically that good of quality or really usable quality. But if you do really want to get 120 frame per second slow motion, you can technically do it with this camera. So I'm going to go ahead and select full HD right here. And then we have filters, which again are kind of the same as photo mode. So there's normal, there's vivid, black and white, and then sepia. I usually just keep mine right here on normal. And then we'll go into the menu a little bit deeper, and there's just a couple things that we can change. First of all, the autofocus assist beam, I would keep this off in video as well. It's just that really bright light up front, and it really is just annoying more than it's useful, personally at least. And then we have digital zoom. I keep that off in video as well, because again, digital zoom basically crops in digitally, which lowers the quality, lowers the resolution, and just gives you worse quality videos. And even with this off, you can still zoom quite a bit in and out with the optical zoom. And then everything else here, like I mentioned earlier, is just pretty much personal preference. And so that is it for the best beginner photo quality settings for the Kodak PixPro FZ45. I really hope this video helped you out, and if it did, please consider dropping a like and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.